Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode here at Your Eggs. We're super excited to be here with you today. And today we're talking about a topic that is something that we get asked often, which is it important for, as an intended parent couple, to choose an egg donor that is living near you? So we're going to answer that question today. Before we get into that, I want to welcome Dion. Dion is joining us again. She is one of the directors here at Your Eggs. Welcome, Dion.
Thank you, Mark. Excited to be here.
Awesome. We're going to be talking about really important topic and really important information to share with all of our viewers. So thanks so much for joining. Just a reminder to all of you, we are filming live here at the Your Eggs offices. So from time to time, we do have some background noises that come up, maybe a door closing, someone saying hello to us as they pass by. Those are the things that happen when you film live in an office. So, bear with us if those things do occur. But now it's time for us to jump into this topic. Actually, before I do that, I want to remind all of our viewers, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe so that we can let you know when we put out a new video for all of you, and make sure you like the videos that you like and leave us some comments, some questions so we can get back to you as well. All right, let's jump into it, Dion. So, as we are making decisions, as couples are making decisions on their journey, on their fertility journey, and they've already made the decision to, start to use an egg donor. This question of do I need to pick an egg donor in my city, or
Yes.
can I choose an egg donor someplace else, is one that invariably comes up and we get asked. So what should they think about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it is a common misconception for many, many people that they think, oh, let me search for an egg donor agency near me. And while convenience is, of course, very important, the way that we've set everything up at Your Eggs makes it unimportant for them to be close by, because we have such a large donor database that our donors are coming from all over the country. And we work with so many different top fertility centers across the country that we're really able to accommodate intended parents from, wherever they may live within the United States or outside of the United States.
Okay, so if they let's just say live in Texas and the donor is in Washington State,
Right.
what should they think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't prohibit them in any way to proceeding forward with their perfect match. They really want to find the right donor for them, regardless of the location, and everything will logistically be taken care of by the egg donation company, working with the fertility center of their choosing if they have one.
Okay, does the process change in any way? So is anything different if they are in those two different states versus in the same city? And maybe, in a state like California, right? It could be that someone's in Orange County and the other person is in, I don't know, Sacramento, right?
Yes.
Is that also, does any of that make a difference in terms of the process itself, how those steps are going to happen?
Yeah, no, it really doesn't, because wherever the intended parents are located, if they have already chosen a fertility center that they're working with locally, their donor will travel to them to work with the fertility center of their choosing if they're working with one. And then, logistically, it won't be any more complicated for them.
Okay, and if they haven't chosen a clinic to work with yet?
And if they haven't chosen a clinic, we're able to accommodate the intended parents to find them a premier clinic that is either close to them or close to the donor that they choose. So that would really be their choice, because either one is going to help minimize cost, to have a fertility center near either the intended parents or near the donor.
And then obviously one of those, whoever it is, would have to travel to the other.
Yes, exactly. And that's and typically, for example, we do have many intended parents who are already working with a fertility center, and then they often do have the donor traveling to their fertility center.
Yeah, that makes sense, because they're already working with that clinic, so they're not going to have them go the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. They're already comfortable there.
Okay. Do you have a story to share that our viewers can connect with about it?
Absolutely. So, kind of what you were talking about For instance, we did have some intended parents who were from Florida, and they had already gone through 4 failed IVF cycles, unfortunately. So they really wanted to try to keep costs down, but knew they needed to move on to donor eggs. So it was important to them to try to find a donor that was in Florida to help minimize cost.
Okay.
And, they also really identified with Florida and, loved where they lived. So thankfully, with our database being as large as it is, they did have a good selection of candidates from Florida, and they were able to find an egg donor there that really matched all their criteria, and that enabled them to really keep the cost down because they didn't have to add on the air travel or any of the other extraneous costs that do tend to add up.
Okay, and do you have a story where intended parents were looking for specific things from the donor and the location of the donor was less important for them?
Yes.
Where they were in different states?
Yeah, absolutely. And that tends to be more common because people do often have a lot of very specific criteria and have a harder time necessarily finding somebody local to their fertility center that they're working with. Just recently we had a couple who was in Orange County, and they had very specific criteria, both, all of the physical characteristics, as well as wanting, their donor to be particularly athletic and have a good education and even the same religious background as them.
Okay.
So they had a lot of very particular criteria, and it didn't matter to them where the donor was coming from. And so they were in Orange County, and their donor was actually in Michigan. So she had to fly, which, that's a pretty big geographical difference there. But, it wasn't an issue because she, flew there for the egg retrieval and, the important parts. And we manage all of the logistics for them at Your Eggs, all of the travel arrangements, everything with the fertility center to minimize the stress for the intended parents and, maximize the results with the donors.
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, nothing against Michigan, but if I've got to travel from Michigan someplace else, no problem traveling to Orange County and being by the coast, right?
Yes, exactly.
Get some sunshine and some ocean views.
Yeah, the donors really do frequently enjoy the opportunity to travel to the fertility center of the clinics, of the intended parents' choice where they're already comfortable.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So another question that came to me, because we've been talking about donors specifically in the United States and talking about from one state to the other, one city to the other, but how is this process any different because Your Eggs does work with international couples as well.
Yes.
So how is that process different internationally if we have someone, I don't know, let's say in Italy or China, and how do they pick the donor, and where does that, how does that all those arrangements work out?
So I guess the biggest difference there would be that, we do have them coming to a place here in the United States so the intended parents would be traveling here to the United States. So we would usually try to partner them with a fertility center, either to an area that they would like to travel to, the intended parents, or to the area where the donor that they choose is located.
So that's probably the biggest difference with international couples is they can expect to travel to the United States versus the other way around.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. Okay. Do we ever see it the other way around?
So occasionally, but the laws can be different. So it depends on where they are located.
Safer to have them travel to the U.S.
Yeah, because some places are more friendly to egg donor laws than others. So we just have to make sure that they are located in a place that does allow for the payment, of egg donation, and all the logistics can be taken care of from a legal standpoint.
Okay, so it sounds like, really from an intended parent perspective, it doesn't matter whether they live in the U.S. or abroad, if they live in Texas or New York,
right,
and the donor is in another state. All of those things can be, seamlessly coordinated and worked out, and that Your Eggs manages all the logistics to that and keeps things as easy as possible for them. Is that accurate?
That's exactly right. And that is the most important part, is working with a reputable egg donation company that is going to take care of all the logistics for them and make it stress-free and successful. And, also have a really large donor database so that they can find the right donor that match what's most important to them when they're talking about building their family. That's a lot more important than finding an egg donor agency that happens to be located nearby.
Yeah, the couples that I talk to and support and coach, the most important thing that I speak to them about is finding the right donor.
Yes.
Make sure they have the characteristics that you want, the education, the health background, whatever is important to you, make sure you find that, regardless of where they are.
Yeah.
everything else can be worked out in some way. That's
Definitely.
I mean, the big takeaway.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Especially with all the wonderful fertility centers around the country and all the logistics, like you said, being taken care of by a reputable agency that has a lot of experience working with donors and fertility centers.
Awesome. So as we wrap up and someone or a couple is considering an egg donation process and an egg donation agency, what advice would you give them about choosing an agency or the right agency?
I guess I would say definitely don't let location limit you
Okay.
or really even factor into it. It would really be, finding, as you said, the right donor that is calling to them, that feels right for building their family, that they're really excited about building their family with, and then let a reputable agency like Your Eggs take care of the logistics for you and organizing everything.
Awesome. So my big takeaway for everybody is that location should not be a barrier, and that the most important thing is choosing the right donor for you, whatever those criteria that you guys set out as a couple are, and then let the agency, in this case, the Your Eggs agency, coordinate all the logistics and finalize things for you, and they'll take care of all of that. So that's my big takeaway.
Yeah.
Any last things to add?
No, yeah, definitely. I think, I guess one other thing would be having that really large egg donor database is a really big one. Some companies only have maybe 50 or 60 donors. We have over 2,000, from over 100,000 applications that we have narrowed it down to over 2,000 active donors, which really helps intended parents make a great choice. And it does allow them, as we heard the one example, that if they do want to keep them somewhat close geographically, they're able to have the egg donors close. But the egg donor agency, it really doesn't matter where they're located.
Actually, that's a really important piece to highlight for everybody. And the reason why that's important is because if you're working with a small agency that has only, let's just say, 20 donors or 50 donors or even 100 donors, odds are that those donors are all local to them, and they're not throughout the United States. And if you want the flexibility of having the option of finding not only the right donor, because of the specific characteristics and personality traits that you're looking for, but also potentially, more near you or in a specific geography in the world, then having an agency like Your Eggs, which has such a large donor pool, gives you that flexibility and allows you to choose from those options, whereas a smaller agency wouldn't really give you or afford that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It's a great point.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Dion, for joining us today. Thank you all for watching and being here with us. I want to remind you all that if you have any questions about the egg donor process, you want to start the process, you just want to ask questions and speak to a real human being, then please reach out to us here at Your Eggs. You can go to our website, you can call us, you can email us, we can set up a consultation and just answer your questions. So make sure you do that by checking out youreggs.com. And for any future videos, make sure you like and subscribe to this video so we can share our future videos with all of you. All right, everyone, we'll see you in the next video.